Out in the woods, we join a pregnant woman running, and this is none other than Ashley Johnson. Ashley voiced Ellie in the game, and here we catch her playing her mother. So far, several big actors from the game have popped up, including Tommy's voice actor as Perry, Troy Baker as James last week, and Marlene, who shows up later on in this scene. There's also a hidden cameo at the end of the episode, and one of the nurses is played by none other than Laura Bailey. If you've played the second game, then you might recognize this as being the person behind Abby, and though she's obscured by a mask, it's confirmed in the credits. Very coolest Easter egg. Ellie's mother is called Anna, and she was first mentioned in The Last of Us comic American Dreams. This featured Ellie and Riley, and in it, we learned a little bit about Anna and what she did before the outbreak. Anna worked as a nurse, and we know she and her lifelong friend Marlene survived together when everything went down worse in this channel's views next week. All that we learned from the backstory was that she died within a day of giving birth to Ellie. But here we see it fleshed out with her running to a farmhouse, being chased by an infected person. We can see a big symbol for the fireflies denoting that this is a safe house, and you can also catch what I'm guessing is the Boston key C in the background. As we know, this was controlled by Fedra, and though we don't learn why Anna's out on her own like this, it likely has something to do with the infected. Perhaps they were out on the road, and then they were ambushed and Anna ended up fleeing, which could have led to this. Due to them searching out in the wild, I think that this might have been the road trip that they made in order to get the QC, and this could be them arriving for the first time. The thing about searching groups like this is that Fedra could scan for the infected, but they had no way of telling who was a rebel or a firefly. Thus, they'd still be allowed in. So potentially, this is them just traveling out of the city, and then everything kicked off along the way. We know that the area surrounding Boston is full of infected too, and that's about 2 weeks on why she's out on her own like this. Hopefully, they address it on the HBO post-release podcast, and if they have, then make sure you drop it in the comments below. Now, Anna locks herself in a room, and then she bursts out a switchblade, which becomes one of Ellie's main weapons in the main game. She manages to kill the infected, but unfortunately, during this she gets bit as she gives birth. The cordyceps probably mutated during this moment, and this is why Ellie ends up being immune. In episode 1, we saw infection times, and due to the bite being on her leg, she has 12 to 24 hours left with her child. Anna names her Ellie, and after the title sequence, we jump to the night to see the fireflies arriving. Led by Marlene, this group don't mind shining flashlights as the infected don't actually get alerted by them. This was a big thing in the game too, and you did need to turn it off when you were navigating around them. Marlene goes upstairs to find Anna holding a knife to her neck in case she starts to turn. She hasn't breastfed her either in case she infects her, and she entrusts Marlene with her child. Also, the green jacket that she's wrapped up in is what Ellie later ends up wearing when she's older, showing that Anna also gives her the knife, and this is something that Marlene passed to her in both the show and game. They also mentioned in the American Dream comic that it belonged to Anna, and Marlene promises to look after Ellie. However, she refuses to kill Anna initially, but realizing that it's her duty, she eventually decides to. This is very much the entire point of Marlene's arc in this entry, and we see how she attempts to put the greater good above what she actually wants to do. Though she swears to protect Ellie, we see how at the end she approves the operation that will kill her